Time value of money looks at the fact that time is money, and money today is worth more than the same amount tomorrow or in the future. So this is because what we have available now can earn an interest, whilst the future cannot earn interest until it is received. So why is time value of money important? There are so many reasons. Number one, the aspect of opportunity cost. So today we have been looking at in economics aspects of opportunity cost. So opportunity cost, we're looking at money today, which can be invested to earn what? Returns. So waiting to receive money, you miss the opportunity cost, okay, depending on what circumstance you are in. Then she talked about the concept of inflation. What is inflation? Inflation, we're talking about the purchasing power of money. So you may not know what the inflation may be. So that may devalue, um, that may devalue your money tomorrow. So inflation rate is another key aspect that you must consider because um, your money today may not be the same as the money tomorrow, depending on the inflation that you're looking at. There are many other factors that you should consider when you're dealing with time value of money. We look at the risk and uncertainty. So sometimes cash flows are uncertain, so there could be a risk that money may not be received. So in the first class, we're going to look at time value of money in terms of the interests that are available. What different types of interest we're going to look at is what we call simple interest. There's what we call compound interest. So simple interest is simply the interest that is based on the initial sum amount. So we're going to look at simple interest, which is given by PTR. So simple interest is given by PTR, where P is the principal, the amount we have now, the T is the time, and the R is what? The interest rate. And we also look at the other interest rate that we call the compound interest. Compound interest simply looks at what? The interest based on the previous amount. It is simply the difference between the future value and the present value. That's what we call the compound interest. So under compound interest, we look at the issues of compounding. What does it mean to compound? To compound is either to earn or accrue interest. Now, interest is earned or accrued in the following dimensions. So it can be earned annually, which is once, meaning our M is 1. It can be earned semi-annually, meaning you're earning interest how many times in a year? Twice. Okay. It can be earned quarterly. Quarterly is how many times? 4 times.
4 times a year. Mm-hmm.
It can be earned monthly. Monthly is how many times?
12.
12 times. It can also be earned weekly. Weekly is how many times?
52 weeks.
52 weeks, correct. And can also be earned what? Daily. Daily is how many days we have?
365.
365. So it's this interest that we're going to be interested in how we are going to compound to calculate it. So this interest is of paramount interest because it will give us the principles of time value of money. Okay, so now we talked about what type of interest, the simple interest. So simple interest is simply interest that is based on the initial amount. So if you have a principal of 1,000 kwacha, that's the money you started with. So, and the time in years has been given as 3 years, and the interest rate has been given as time is 3 years in terms of years. So if you have 3 months to divide over 12, 3 weeks over 52, 3 days over 365, and our interest rate, for instance, is 10%. What is our compound interest? So we're coming from our grade 12. Okay, so compound interest in this case is PTR. So we have 1,000 times what? Times the time, which is 3 years, times the interest rate, which is 10%, which is 0.10. So meaning our simple interest in this case will be how much? 300 kwacha. So this is not the future value we have. The money we expect to have after 3 years will be the simple interest plus the amount we started with. So meaning our future value in this case will be what? 1,300. So what does this 10% simple interest mean? That every year we'll be getting a consistent amount of 300. So in year one, we're going to have interest of 300. Year two, 300. Year three, 300. So this interest will be the same throughout. Now, suppose we're asked to calculate our compound interest. So we have a formula which is given by the following. Future value is equal to present value 1 plus R over M to the power MT. This is a general formula. So the same characteristics that have been given here, suppose we're given a principal of what? 1,000 time of 3 years and interest of 10%. And you've been asked to calculate the future value annually, future value semi-annually, future value quarterly. Can we calculate our future value for each of these ones? So the more we compound, the higher the figure. So what is the future value under annually? Using this formula, what is our present value? The money we started with, which is 1,000 kwacha. Okay. And what is our um interest rate? 10%. M, what is our M? Annually means how many times in a year? Do we
What?
end?
Once.
So here, bring the same M, which is 1 times how many years? 3 years. Okay. So semi-annually, what's the difference when you do for semi-annually here? The same figures, but what will be the difference?
The time
The M. What will be our M in this case?
need to be half, right?
The M semi-annually means how many times are we earning interest?
Tw- Twice.
Twice, correct. So where there's a 1, we're going to put what? 2, right?
A two.
Then here,
Mm-hmm.
where the 2 times how many years?
Three.
3 years, okay? The more we compound, so it means the first 6 months we're going to earn 5%, and the other remaining 6 months we earn the other 5%. So this is, and the period we multiply 2 times what? 6, meaning in 3 years we're going to earn interest six times within the same period of time of 3 years. Okay, those that are calculating, give us the figures so that we see what happens the more you compound. How about quarterly? What is happening? What will be the difference there? Where there's M, we're going to put what? Quarterly means how many times?
It means 4 times.
4 times, okay. So you're going to put a 4. Then the time we're going to multiply by what? By 4. 4 times what? 3. Because these are very important principles. As I'll be looking at time value of money or bond valuation, we'll need these principles. So those that have calculated annually, what is the figure we're getting? Semi-annually and quarterly. Okay. Then Daily, we would have put 365 here and 365 there. Continuously, the future value of money, the formula is slightly different. It's simply the present value, e to the power RT. Don't be surprised if you see this in your first test, because what I'm talking about is a major chunk of the first summary of our test one. Okay. And the effective annual rate simply measures the actual interest rate that we earn. It doesn't consider time. It is simply given by 1 plus R over M, the power M minus 1. So what is our effective annual rate? If it is compounded semi-annually, what becomes our effective annual rate? It is compounded semi-annually. Can somebody substitute for us in here? I said the effective annual rate in corporate finance basically uh, looks at the actual interest rate that we earn or we pay on an investment or on a loan, accounting for the compounding within the year. So it reflects actually how often interest is compounded, either quarterly, annually, daily, monthly. So it helps in making the best rate for us to compare the financial products with different compounding periods. So given this, that it's a semi-annual, what are we going to have there? We simply have one. Oh yeah, there's R. What are we putting on R? 10%, 0.10, right? Then over
Mm-hmm.
on M, what are we putting? 2.
Is it by two?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Semi-annual, right? You be told.
Yes.
Then here 2 minus 1. There's no time there. Most people make a mistake by putting the time aspect. All right, so I'm basically not so much interested in the answers, but you understanding the concepts in there. So we've talked about issues of simple interest, issues of compound interest, and how to compound. So now I'll talk about how to calculate the other things. Just a recap for those that have joined us to say um, simple interest is simply calculated on the original amount. Okay, there's no compounding. For instance, if you're told that there's 10%, in year one, you're going to have 100, year 200, year 300, year 400. So for 3 years, you're going to have 300 as your total interest. All right? So compound interest, if it's 10%, in year one, you're going to have 10% of 1,000. So we're going to have 1,100 as total. Year two will be 10% of the total 1,100. So meaning you're going to have 110. Year three, you're going to have 10% of 110. It's what? Um, so it goes on and on and on. So this is how we consider the aspect of what? Time, um, value of money with regards to compound interest. Okay. Any questions so far before I proceed? Are we ready to tackle a question together from our test if it was done today? Let's look at,
I have a question, Collins.
yeah.
Okay, I think I missed you where you said so the future value is equals to PVERT. I think I missed that part.
Okay, so this is when we are dealing with what? Continuous compounding. It's happening continuously. So future present
Okay.
value, ERT. So PV is the amount we have now. E is the natural log on your calculator. Then RT, these ones you have them. Okay. So this is another tricky form that comes, which he may not really teach in class, but you'll find them um, in the tests. Okay. Any other questions before I proceed? Okay. So if there are no questions, we go to our question number one of the test. Who wants to try? Question number one, we are told that you invest 1,500 at an annual interest rate of 8% semi-annually. How much will you have at the end of 7 years? Okay, what are we given in this case? What are we given in this case? Who wants to try? Let's identify what has been given.
The present value, which is 1.5.
The PV, which is 1.5. What else are we given?
The interest rate,
Mm-hmm.
which is 8%.
Mm-hmm.
We've
And
been
then we have
given
the time as well.
The time as well. Okay. So what's the formula for the future value?
Okay, so it's the present value,
Mm-hmm.
open brackets 1
Mm-hmm.
plus the rate over the time,
Over the number
then you close
compounding.
bracket.
Mm-hmm. M times T. So I need you to now calculate what is the future value. Quickly, everyone get involved. Okay, anyone who's found it? Are you following? So present value, what are we
Yes,
putting on present value?
1,500. I don't have a calculator.
Mm.
I was visiting, so I've just quickly logged on. So I left my calculator at home. But 1.5,
Mm-hmm. Then,
open brackets, the 1 plus
mm-hmm.
0.08
Mm-hmm. The,
over 2.
okay, Y2, semi, right?
Semi.
Yes. If it was quarterly, you would have put 4. Uh-huh.
Close brackets to the power 14.
14, correct. Those that have calculators, what have you found as your uh, future value? Okay, you find that it is actually 2,507. So there's an error in his calculation. So don't mind, that's what I'm saying. You should always be particular with the concepts that we're learning here. Okay, now suppose I change this. We're given the future
Okay,
value.
so I have a question. So if what he has put in the test, right, the amounts are incorrect. So what do we put there?
Well, it, he rectified at the end. So I'm saying you expect a lot of errors. In most of his tests, there are usual errors, but he rectified at the end. Okay?
Okay, so if it's multiple choice,
There's no matter what
meaning you,
to be exact, yes. But usually you have to put the figures. That's where the tricky part is. So that those ones that are not calculating are guessing do not guess. So you have to be very exact. Okay?
oh, okay.
Yeah. So sometimes they ask you, suppose the future value is 5,000 and the present value is 2,500. The interest rate is 8%, compounded annually. How long will it take for this 2,000 to double? What are they looking for? How long? They're looking for time. Okay? They're looking for time. So how long will the 2,000 take to double at 8%? It's compounded annually. All right, so what is the formula? Future value is got what? Present value. Okay? If it's annually, although I don't like this formula because people become lazy with this. If it's annually, you're permitted to even forget the n, the m. You can just directly put it there, 1 plus r, the power time. So how long would it take for a 2,500 to double to 5,000? So where there's future value, you put 5,000. Where there's a present value, you put 2,500. What is our interest rate?
8%.
8%. All right. So what are we going to put in there? 1 point what? 08. And the time, we don't know. So put time there. So from our grade what? Our grade 12. We divide both sides by 2,500. We're going to get what? 2 on the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking for the time, t. So how do we get the time? When the unknown is in the power. Who can try to remember this from our grade 12? How do we find the value of t? There's only one way we can find the value of t, by introducing what?
Can't remember.
It logs, okay? By introducing logs. So here you're going to have log 2, and here you're going to have what? Log uh 1.08 to the power what? T. It is only when the log is introduced that this log can fall. So this log will come in front of this here. So we're going to have what? Log 2 is equal to T log what? 1.08. Now can somebody tell me how do you find the time? How do you find the time? By dividing both sides by what? Log 1 point what? 08. Okay? By dividing both sides by 1.08. That is the only way you could calculate this. Then the logs are there on the calculator. Just punch log 2 over log 1.08 to give you the time factor. Are we together? Any questions at this point?
None.
Okay, so sometimes they'll ask you to find the present value. Okay? They'll ask you to find the present value. How do you calculate the present value? The present value is given by just rearranging the figures that we've talked about there. You make P subject to formula. Okay. Okay, so before I go to present value, I spoke about this one. Who remembers what is the effective annual rate if the nominal rate is 12% compounded quarterly? Who remembers how to calculate this? The formula for effective annual rate?
The open bracket 1 plus 1 over m. I'm looking at my notes.
Yes.
Open brackets, the power m
Mm-hmm.
minus 1.
Correct. So 1 plus R over M. There's no aspect of time, right? Sometimes they put how many years to confuse you. Don't use the years in there, I plead. Okay? R over what? M. Then here, M minus 1. So where there's R, we're going to put what? 12%. Okay? So 1 plus 0.12 over what? What do you put on M? What do you put on M? 4, right? This is
Mm,
quarterly. Then to the power 4 minus.
quarterly. Mm.
Are we together? Yes. So that is how we find the effective annual rate. Okay. So I will give you homework on the first test, just on the things that I've talked about. So like I said, everything that I'll bring from test one is just on time value of money. I will not look at the annuities. Annuities, I'll look at them on our normal classes will be Sundays and Thursdays for corporate finance, Sundays and Wednesdays for POM. Okay, theme is on Fridays. So that doing financial. So we'll be meeting twice a week. So our idea is to ensure that we finish all these questions. It's very practical and very easy. You can finish everything within a month. All I just want to have is a timeline where we finish as many questions as possible because that man is he repeats questions. But some of these questions you may never understand them if you don't know the principle. Okay? And it doesn't spoon feed. So questions may look very tough, but I've explained the entire principles. It's just an issue of what subject of formula. So I said if you're given the future value here of what? 5,000. And the time value, the present value are not given. It is not given present value. Then you're told that the um, interest rate is 8% and the time is 4 years. So use the same formula here. If it's compounded annually, it's even easy. Just make P subject of a formula. Okay? Everything I've taught in this, it only becomes a challenge when I taught it's compounded semi-annually. So you need to put R over M. In every case, the interest rate is divided by the what? The number of compoundings. And the time is always multiplied by the number of compoundings. This is the principle even when we go to bonds. So time value of money, what have we said, is a principle that assumes that time is money. And because of inflation rate, opportunity cost, and risk and uncertainty, it is essential to consider the aspect of time value of money. So this principle is there in also these as subsequent courses. So we end here. I'll share the recording and I'll share the 10 questions from the test you attempt on your own. Thank you so much for your time. I think we'll go for POM in 20 minutes or so. Otherwise,
All
thank you
right.
and have a good day.
Thanks. You too.